The Billboard charts always have the same names on them, but every so often, a genuine underground artist breaks through. Now and Then is the last Beatles song. Until they decide to release their lost single, It's Okay to Leave Your Dog in a Hot Car. But now that we've gotten some time to sit with it, is it really the send-off that the Beatles deserve? Let's first establish how Now and Then came out now instead of then. In 1994, John Lennon was inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. This was about 14 years after his tragic assassination. At the ceremony, Yoko Ono gave Paul McCartney cassettes with 4 demo recordings from John. 2 of these demos were released in a completed state with the Anthology Project, Free as a Bird, and Real Love. One more was on the posthumous album Milk and Honey. The last one was Now and Then, which the remaining Beatles decided to complete back in 1995. One issue though. Didn't sound too great. It's grainy, John and his piano clash for attention in the mix, and like the other demos, there was a 60 Hz hum in the recording, a hum that was far more present in this song than the others. In total, the Beatles didn't spend, according to producer Jeff Lynne, more than an afternoon on it. George specifically thought it was, quote, f***ing rubbish, though it's unclear if at the time he meant the song itself was rubbish or just the recording quality. His widow released a statement recently saying it was the latter. Personally, I like the original demo recording of Now and Then for what it is, this tender, intimate rendition of a sappy love song, but I also have the context of it being a demo in my mind, and I understand why the Living Beatles didn't try to finish it back in 1995. Speaking of years, 2021. That year we got the Get Back documentary from the Beatles and Peter Jackson. For that project, a new technology was developed so that Peter and his team could isolate and extract voices from rough recordings. This allowed us, the audience, to hear conversations that were previously unintelligible. So if this technology could be used to isolate voices, what if it could also be used to isolate voices? The news broke in June of this year that the Beatles would be releasing a new song. With the help of our future enslavers. Yes, the use of AI to make this song possible raised a ton of eyebrows, which was not helped by, in my opinion, news headlines that didn't really make clear what the AI was doing. Just to make it crystal clear for anyone who still believes so, the voice of John Lennon on Now and Then is not AI. AI was used to extract the vocal from John's original demo, but this isn't some Vocaloid impersonation of John Lennon, like what you heard on Heart on My Sleeve from earlier this year. Personally, I think this is an okay use of AI in music, but if you disagree, let me know why in the comments. I'd love to hear your perspective. Beyond that though, this new version of Now and Then is a bit of a family affair. The song is co-produced by Paul and George Martin's son, Giles. He's the same guy who's been remixing some Beatles albums in recent years, including the new editions of the Red and Blue albums. Sean Lennon assisted by providing a higher quality tape of John's demo. Heck, they even got some unused footage from Pete Best, the band's first drummer before Ringo came in. But the main stars here are, of course, the Fab Four. This song has been billed as the last song all 4 of the Beatles had a hand in. But is it really? I mean, in a literal sense it is. John's demo is the backbone of the song, George's guitar playing is present, Paul and Ringo fleshed the rest out, but John and George are, unfortunately, no longer with us. So would their parts have been different if they were around to record them? Would they have even wanted the song to come out? I don't see that as a reason to bash or boycott this song. Paul and Ringo practice songcraft, not necromancy. But it is an interesting facet of this whole project to consider. There's no way of knowing what John or George in 2023 would have done on this recording. So what is this new version of Now and Then like? It's just lovely. There's a very basic intrinsic joy I get from hearing Beatles songs. It's like drinking water. Did you know that stuff's actually pretty good? The verses are simple words about love and devotion, and the chorus is about missing someone. The latter takes on a new meaning now. John likely meant it towards a loved one, but when it's sung by Paul and Ringo, it reads just as much as them missing their old bandmates. They did get rid of a verse where John sings, "I don't want to lose you, abuse you, or confuse you." Am I personally torn up that this was removed? No. I get why Paul and Ringo would have removed it. If I had to bear with a release cycle where everyone became the guy from that one Onion article, I would have gone insane. Plus, I think the hard cut between the A minor chord at the end of the verse and the G major chord at the start of the chorus is fine. In the original demo, John goes on this modulated detour. I think that sounds nice too, it's just I don't think this new version is hurt by doing away with it. Aside from Paul and Ringo's parts and a new string section, George is also present. The song includes guitar parts he recorded back in 1995, plus there's a slide guitar solo inspired by George and performed by Paul. That's nice too. It's also nice to hear little callbacks to other Beatles songs. The way Paul counts in at the start. 1, 2, is a cool mirroring of how their first album started.
1, 2, 3, 4!
Giles threw in some vocal parts from Here, There, Everywhere, Because, and Eleanor Rigby. There's this one part with the guitar that I swear is from another Beatles song, but I can't put my finger on it. I thought it was from You Never Give Me Your Money, but it's not the same. Does it sound familiar to you, or am I just losing it? And it's fitting that, for the band that effectively pioneered multi-track recording, the song sounds great. I've heard complaints that it's a little overproduced, but given the circumstances, I think that makes all the sense in the world. We also got a music video directed by Peter Jackson. There's archival footage of the band, clips of Paul and Ringo recording this new version, bits of young John and George green screened in. I got a big kick out of this one part where Paul is looking from the mixing console, totally hypnotized by some performance. And then you see John at the conductor stand just being a dingus. If I can mention one real disappointment I have with this whole project, I am bummed that Paul and Ringo were green screened in the video. I'm bummed that they were not together in person. Of course, they are both very busy men. Ringo has been touring for good chunks of this year. Paul's going to be touring for the rest of the year. It's just, if this is really the last thing you guys recorded together, it would have been nice if you were together in person. That's all. Sorry, I actually have one more disappointment to get off my chest. The single artwork. Not loving it. I kind of wish they had used the cassette image that was featured in the marketing. I think that better communicates the story of this whole shebang. And now we come to the least important question of this whole affair, if the song actually matters. I don't mean that as a diss towards the work put into making this song or its quality. It's just, I don't think Now and Then changes anything. Not because it isn't good, but because this is the Beatles. Their legacy has been set in stone for decades. Unless we get the news that the Beatles were actually a bunch of lobsters stacked on top of each other in human clothes, I think their legacy is as close to immortal as humanly possible. But that's the thing. The band's legacy might be essentially immortal, but the bandmates themselves are not. Putting aside the marketing hype of the last Beatles song, this could genuinely be it, right? Paul and Ringo are both in their 80s, and I hope they are with us for several more years to come, but while they may not be at the end, they're definitely carrying that weight. I've had loved ones who were my age, in their 20s, during the Beatles' Imperial era, pass away before this song came out. There is a new Beatles song that I have heard, but they haven't. And that hits me kinda hard. It hits me harder than I would have expected. I hope this isn't coming across like I'm making their deaths about me or anything. It's just, maybe you've experienced the same thing where you've had a partner or a loved one or a parent or a friend who was a fan of the Beatles pass away. And now this song is bringing up memories of them and the times that you shared together. I joked about it at the start of the video, but this song making it onto the Hot 100 is kinda reassuring. Seeing people online get excited, well up with emotion, share the song with family who saw the Beatles in their prime, it feels good to know that a lot of people still care about this band, let alone a 40-plus-year-old John Lennon love song fleshed out by his surviving bandmates. You'd think that people would have had enough of silly love songs. I know that's a Wings reference, let me have this. And I think that's the best send-off the Beatles can have. The proof that over 60 years since their end, they will be remembered. And sure, we will be reminded of them through various reissues and anniversary packages for as long as their bloodlines exist. But I think the real reason the Beatles will survive is the songs. The eclectic catalog of stone-cold classics that these four chaps gave us. And that reminder is the real victory of Now and Then. The last Beatles song. Get back in your cage. I know it's true. It's all because of you. And if I make it through, it's all because of you.